There you go, now it's recording. Hi guys, as you know, if you was in my live stream earlier, you would have seen the bearded wizard, Bryn, with me. We decided we was going to do like a little impromptu Q&A in the car. I've done one of these in the past. I've done it with Alex, and it got some kind of good reception, so we're going to do it with Brinsworth. We're just going to like be asking like some simple questions for each other. Obviously, if you hear that noise, that's his sat nav. We're currently going to go see Bryn's dad, who's in hospital. But yeah, so we're just on our way. So we just thought we'd do a little impromptu Q&A while we're in the car. So
continue on B2010 for 3.
As I have said in the past, that I met Bryn in college, a little bit like that sort of stuff. But like you guys didn't actually know how it happened and what we initially thought of each other. So I actually first met Bryn when in college in our what was called our common room. It was a big area where all the students can just go kind of play pool, video games, relax, play on some instruments, get some food. Actually pretty good food, to be fair, for what it was.
Yeah, for the price.
For the price of it.
It was actually good student food.
It was good student food for the price of it. It didn't break the bank, but wasn't half bad either. So but yeah, like we actually started meeting because I went in there during one of my break periods, and Bryn happened to be in there on his iPad, and I asked him if he wanted to play a couple of games of pool with me.
Which I did. My mistake. I've been stuck with this fucker for the rest since then.
Okay, but like, besides me being like cocky and a bit annoying and stuff like that, because obviously like that's me.
Yeah.
What, like when you first like started getting to know me a little bit, what did you think of me?
I thought you were a very boisterous person, and I was right. Honestly, it was just nice to have someone to talk to, especially considering, you know, the thing is, you have never had a problem with talking to people, and that's something I've struggled with in the past. So, you not only were you a good friend to me, but also my friendship to you led to more friendships with other people. Like, I don't think I'd be friends with James if I wasn't friends with you first.
It's weird. I'm a big introvert, but I'm quite an extroverted introvert. Like, I don't really like going out to big social gatherings like parties and stuff like that, but like I am happy to talk to people. Yeah, I am happy to talk to people when time's thing. But my first opinion, first honest impression of you, when I first met you, I was thinking, oh, this guy's kind of shy. He's very quiet, quite a bit sullen. Like, I'm gonna see if I can make a friend.
Yeah, I'd come out of my shell a lot during secondary school, you know, I was still a bit shy because it was my first week in college. You know, I was boarding there. Sure, I've been boarding in secondary school too, but
yeah, college is a different atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. For starters, I kept on getting waken up by fuckwits coming back from the bars at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, whereas
way too loud.
Whereas that was my second year, was Bryn's first year, because I'm only 1 month and 1 day older than Bryn. But I spent a whole year in college beforehand. So I was in there from the 2015, 2016. Bryn started in 2016. And so I think it was actually October. You was a little bit late to start, wasn't you? It was like October that we first met.
Yeah, I was late to enter the block, so I wasn't late for the classes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, it was late to enter the accommodation and stuff like that.
Yeah, because we needed to sort out some paperwork, because you know, I was getting that covered by the council.
Yeah, King County Council.
Stuff,
yeah.
You know, they were getting all that sort of stuff sorted. Yeah, but yeah, I started in agriculture at college. And obviously, Mark was went equine because he's a horsey boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch out! All horsey people are insane. Literally all of them. Have to be. They're trying to keep control of a several 100-pound animal with nothing but the strength of their arse cheeks.
Well, it's a little bit more to it than that, but yeah.
Yeah, but am I wrong? am I actually wrong?
Yeah, okay, we're controlling a £1,500 animal with our arse and 4 fingers, and
exactly,
and a little bit of strength from our lower thigh, but like there's a bit more to it than that.
And that's before you even unpack the Spanish soap opera, which was the social dynamics and that caused Jesus Christ.
And then after, like, I met Bryn a couple of times. Like, we met Bryn obviously in the common room. We met a couple of times actually. We kind of hung out a little bit, and then it just so happened that a free room opened up in my accommodation block, and
I was sick and tired because if you've ever seen the movie Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, after my other blockmates had got to that kitchen, it looked like the fucking toxic forest from that film.
Yeah,
like it was mold everywhere. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
It stank, and I was like, one, how do these people fucking function? And two,
and I had obviously, because I'd already been there a year before, I kind of built up a good rapport with the what was called student support services. There was basically like the kind of like the managers of the accommodation and stuff like that. Yeah, SSS,
which is it's just a little bit off of a much worse acronym.
Yeah, SSR. Yeah.
No, I was thinking the SS, but yeah.
Yeah. But so I went in there and actually spoke to them and said, hey, there's a free room in my block. I'm the block mentor and all that sort of stuff. I want Bryn from this block to move into mine. I went, I'll help him move and all that. We can have him in now. And they went, well, okay. I said, okay, well, you have to wait until the end of the week. If no one else comes in by the end of the week, it's Bryn's. Literally, end of the week came Friday. I walked in there and went, no one's moved in. Give me the keys. And they just went, okay. I went straight into Bryn's room. Wait, grab your shit. Let's go.
Yeah.
Put him in, and then basically we've just been kind of best buds ever since.
Yeah, thick as thieves.
Yeah. And there has been times when we've had like massive arguments and falling out and stuff like that, but like
always his fault.
Not always, most of the time.
Always your fault.
But okay, fair. But we've always managed to kind of like, if we give each other enough space for a certain amount of time, we just kind of like let it settle, and then we've always managed to kind of come back sort of friend, like stronger than before and all that. Like we always rip the crap at each other. I say he looks like a homeless hipster. He always calls me a midget, like,
and a slut, because you should have seen him in college. Jesus Christ, this dirty little bastard.
But yeah, we all got up to stuff in college. Like, come on, like.
Not as much as you, mate.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But
yeah. I mean, I can't fucking judge me. I'm just the first girlfriend I had in college, mate, and she didn't see me for like 2 weeks straight.
I didn't see you for like a month straight. What you on about?
No. You saw me once or twice past that point. But for the first 2 weeks, I just didn't go in the block at all. Like, not even once.
I wanted you to come hang out and shit like that, and you was like, nah. You literally said to me, nah.
Nah. Yeah. Well, what do you expect?
Yeah, no, it's alright. I don't blame you.
I was getting what I was getting was good.
Yeah, but okay. When you obviously first like impressions of me, like I was a bit annoying and like a little bit of kind of like a twat and stuff like that, which I still am now. But like that's just me. I'm never gonna change that. But when you first started, when you actually got to like hang out with me more and started to actually get to know me, what did you actually think of me then?
Well, I thought you I think you're a very earnest person, very earnest, very loyal to your friends. You get mixed up in a lot of stuff just because of how you engage with people, but it's rarely a case of you starting shit.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you've made missteps in the past, but who the fuck hasn't? But yeah, you've been a good friend, and I appreciate anyone who's willing to go with me on several mile-long walks into the countryside, just chit-chatting the whole time.
Yeah, we're literally just like rambling about absolutely nothing and everything.
we just pick a direction from college and just start walking.
We'll keep walking until like we get tired or it starts getting dark enough that we have to turn around to get back in time for curfew. And then we'd be like,
sometimes we didn't get back to curfew. Yeah.
Our most distinct memory was when we was up walking around the equine fields, and then just out of nowhere, all we heard was, "What are you doing? Who are you?"
And that was the warden.
That was one of the
Chinadu.
warden Chinadu, this big African guy, and he was
Great
like,
dude,
but like at like 11 o'clock at night when you're not supposed to be out, goddamn fucking terrifying.
So we ran down the cross country jumps and some were fucking me.
Booked it back to our block.
Yeah.
Like we sat in my room and all that. Like I turned my computer on real quick and he came in, knocked on the doors and went, Mark, Breen, have you two seen anyone? And we're just like, sorry, what?
Nope.
They're like, did you see anyone run down past the blocks? And I was just like, no, we've been in here the whole time. We're actually going out to get a pizza, like, in a second. Like, and he was like, oh, okay, well, if you see anyone who's looking a bit suspicious, you'll let me know. I was like, yeah, I know that, my responsibility is to be a grass, I know. Like, never did, but like...
Yeah. Unless it was like something super fucking serious, but...
if it was like, I know that someone was going to go, like, viciously attack someone.
Yeah, but don't be a fucking narc.
Yeah.
I didn't say shit when my favourite meditation spot was being taken up by a group of students with a hookah.
Yeah. Well, no, like... the only time I actually did like kind of grass on someone was when I actually knew someone was going to get viciously attacked.
Yeah.
And I did it just to protect both parties, really.
Yeah.
Because I was friends with the person who was going to do the attacking, and I was also friends with the person who was going to be attacked.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't want either of this to happen to anyone, so I just kind of told that person and then told the wardens. I know, obviously, that was kind of a dick move on my part, but like my heart was in the right place.
Think so.
I was doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah. So I don't think that was a dick move at all. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we met. So all three, all
Well, no, then it was after about 2 weeks after I met Bryn, I met James, and I met him because my girlfriend at the time was cheating on me with him. And you wouldn't think that two guys who were like, where one was getting cheated on by their girlfriend with the other person would become friends. But then we spent this time with this certain girl. She won't be named because obviously her privacy is her privacy and she's entitled to her privacy. But she was basically jumping back and forth between me and James for the course of about 6 to 8 weweeks.
This is what happens when you date equine girls.
Yeah. And then in the end, like, she basically like broke up with both of us, essentially. And then me and James just like, we hung out, and like Bryn happened to be with me, and I was like, hey, can Bryn come with me? And he was like,
I mean, in the first year I was actually in the same class as him, but we didn't really hang out during that year. It was the second year, wasn't it, that we really started hanging out. So we started hanging out in the second year. That was when I'd moved from agriculture to countryside management.
Yeah.
That was a great year. Absolutely. Absolute blast. It's just a shame the college got rid of that course.
That was due to them poor investments across the board and
them fucking laundering money.
And there was one person in that college was responsible. There was another person that kind of covered his arse. So both of those people were responsible for laundering roughly about £4.5 million. Those guys will be like, that's their business, like. But it's because of them doing that, it caused a couple of really good courses.
We went to Hadlow College, by the way.
Yeah, it caused a couple of really good courses to be shut down due to their own negligence and them being stupid. Like, for example, arboriculture, countryside, they're all gone now.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's been taken over by the college has been taken over by NKC, and whilst they're
North Kent College.
Yeah, and whilst they're a decent college for what they do, they do not know how to run an agricultural college at all. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, we both because we're both trained in like land-based industries. I went through animal management first, and then went equestrian because for a good period whilst I was in college, I didn't know whether or not I was going to become a vet or if I was going to become an equine handler. But then I found my love for horses and become
exactly what
I knew where I was going. Yeah, when I've been all over the country, worked on some of the most prestigious studs in the world, like. All five of the most prestigious studs in the world happen to be in this country, funny enough. And I've done great things with it. But like, obviously, one of the best things to come from my life is being friends with him and James. Because for me, it was like I'm perfectly okay with socialising with people, but because I've always been neurodivergent, I've always been different and stuff like with my ADHD and autism.
Yeah. It can be difficult to connect with people.
Yeah, it can be difficult to connect with people.
They just don't get it.
Yeah, they don't get it. And also a lot of people as well, they see me and think, this guy's weird, like this guy's thing. But then no one actually ever gave me the time to actually kind of get to know me.
And far be it me to judge people for being fucking weird. Like,
well, yeah, you're autistic and got Asperger's as well. Like,
yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why we actually got on so well from the get-go.
Rise up.
Yeah, like I think that's where you got Asperger's.
Asperger's.
Yeah, I think that's where me and you actually kind of got on really well, because like we're similar but we're different at the same time. Like, because we're both on the spectrum. We're both like got those problems, and I think in a way when we're together we kind of complement each other in a way, sort of.
And then of course it was where we were then in the same block. That just strengthened our friendship a bit and further, because then we were living with each other and getting on with each other,
helping each other. We was always hanging out with each other, helping each other out with assignments and like as when needed.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like we were doing each other's coursework or anything, because I don't know jack about horses.
No, but I helped give you some insights on how to like lay it out and stuff like that.
Exactly, that sort of thing.
Because I'd already been there a year. Like James, on the other hand, I was doing his coursework for him.
Yeah, well,
he's not the brightest, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed though. But like,
hey,
not in that aspect. He wasn't academically minded. That's what I meant.
Yeah, no, to be fair, but I mean, I'm not. It's not like I'm great at academics, dyslexia, fun.
I was good with I was good at practical and retaining knowledge. I'm excellent at retaining the knowledge. I've always struggled to get it down on paper. Yeah, down on paper.
Yeah. Relatable.
Yeah. So any way that I could freaking get through with it, like I would.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in college and when I was in secondary school, I use a lot of speech-to-text software, because it just makes the whole process of writing out assignments and so on so much quicker. If you are watching this and you have dyslexia and you haven't given it a try, there's a free resource called Dictate, and it's a very effective speech-to-text software. And the more you use it, the better it gets at reading your voice, because it has a certain level of AI involved. But it's absolutely free. You can download it for it as long as you got Chrome. And it'll run on your computer. Absolutely fantastic software for anyone with special needs. And that's another thing, to all the neurotypicals out there. I know it's not I know the convention has moved on from special needs, but I think special needs is the most accurate term for it, because it's not. We don't have learning difficulties. We can learn just as easily as a neurotypical can. We just need to approach it at a different angle.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of it, and that's why I like to say it's special educational needs, because so long as there's a certain amount of tailoring to our
specific
way
needs,
of learning, we'll do just fine. In fact, quite often we'll do better, because the thing about living in a world made by neurotypicals when you're not neurotypical is you learn to be a problem solver. You have to be. So,
like I know, obviously, like I've spoken about like the farm I've been associated with in times. If you've seen some of the ways that me and him have came up with ideas to solve a problem, that you'd look at it as a neurotypical and think that would never work, and then we've just gone and done it, and it's worked.
It's all about that's the thing, because we're neurodivergent, we're divergent thinking.
Yeah.
And so we always come at things at a different angle to to most people, which can be a disadvantage at times, when what's needed is to think in the same way as the group. But obviously, it's just as common that having the one person go, but have you considered this, to be
You shift the whole paradigm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got any questions for me?
Let me think. So, when you first met me and I told you I was in agriculture, were you surprised at all that I was an agriculture student? Or, like, what course were you originally thinking I was going to be on?
I thought, when I first met you, like, the sort of vibe I got from you, I'd say more kind of towards horticulture sort of thing, because like you did say a few things about you having like an allotment at home and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, so no, I love a good allotment.
Like that's where I kind of thinking like, okay, you might be like horticulture, that sort of stuff, and he's probably just here to hone his skills a bit.
Yeah.
But like, I wasn't surprised when you was on like agriculture, because I know like agriculture can have that sort of a depth, but I was just thinking like, you're not the type of like big burly guy to kind of like.
Well, I wasn't at the time. I was a bandy little kid.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really enjoyed about being both in agriculture and countryside management in college was that it really helped me build my physical ability as well as my mental ability.
Well, that's part of the reason why I loved I loved equine, because like I was working muscles I wouldn't have never normally worked, and like just my mental agility was constantly on point, because I had to anticipate, predict and extinguish the horse's next move. So if like I had to anticipate a horse is going to suddenly kick off and start chucking itself around, so I then had to think ahead, okay, how am I going to stop it without hurting myself and hurting the horse? Like, most of the time I had to go for the kind of like really gentle approach, except for there was one horse. He hated me as much as I hated him, and
we did not get along with him at all.
No, and he was the only horse I've ever had to take the brute force with. I
mean, to be honest, there's always the one horse. Like, I don't even work with horses directly, but I work at the same farm that Mark's associated with, and basically, I've only ever had an incident with one horse. By the name of Orbit, who tried to smack me in the back of the head with his hoof.
Yeah, he was a little git. He's a twat, yeah.
Which is a shame, because apparently he's a right sweetheart to like half of the people on the yard. The other half, he's a git to him.
He is to the girls who ride him, groom him, and feed him.
Yeah,
and that he's an angel to.
And to everyone else,
he's like, nah, like, I hate you. I'm gonna kill you.
I don't get anything from you, so I'm gonna treat you like dirt.
Yeah, but we're the ones who freaking gave him the hay. Gave him hay. Like,
yeah, it was when I was giving him hay that he tried to kick me. The git.
But like,
still. Yeah, I think to be fair, he does seem to get quite rowdy when hay's being given out.
It's
just like that.
It's because like he was in a field with like 3 other horses that were just like he was at the bottom of the pecking order.
Yeah, he was not happy.
Yeah, he didn't like it. He was always quite a boisterous horse, but he was in a field with 2 other horses that
would not put up with his shit.
That have like they kind of earned the right to be the alpha, because like those guys fought their way to the top.
Oh yeah. No, that's the thing. And then of course, we left college eventually. He carried on being friends. Started working together and obviously you started doing YouTube and I've shown up on a few videos because of yours, and that's pretty much our friendship as it's been. But
okay, a question for you is, what got you into the countryside like element?
I have always been into the countryside. I mean, even from a very young age, when I was in primary school, my father used to walk me through the local graveyard, and we'd always go early so we could stop underneath this absolutely gorgeous copper birch that had mushrooms growing from the base, and wildflowers would pop up in the spring, and the light would just filter through the leaves, and it was gorgeous. And part of the reason why this graveyard was so good for wildlife was because before it was a graveyard, it was a Victorian pleasure garden, so it had a lot of really strange and unique trees, like Indian bean trees, and like it has a sequoia. But yeah, my love for nature was fostered from a very, very young age, and in turn, my father's love for nature comes from going out when he was little with his dad down to the marshes and going bird watching. And to this day, that's something that me and my dad love to do. We get our binoculars out, we go down to the salt marshes because we live near the Thames, so plenty of salt marshes to pick from. And we'll sit there, lovely cup of tea, just watch the lapwings fly by. It's gorgeous.
Didn't you initially kind of want like your dream career to be like the marshal of like a ranger of a salt marsh and stuff like that, or to be like a park ranger in like something like
I
park or something?
would love to be I mean, I still want to be a park ranger. I haven't given up on that, and I won't. But you know, at the moment, because I live in the southeast of England, which is we both do, it's the most built up part of the country. So, you know, countryside rangers, not in the highest demand in my area.
Well, the thing is like there's just not in that high demand across the country, really.
Oh no, there's plenty of jobs going in Scotland.
Yeah,
but that's Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland. Like, I mean, in England, there aren't that many of them going because, to be a park ranger, it's not something you kind of apply for in the UK. It's something that you kind of have to build up a rapport with someone who's already kind of established.
The countryside management in field is very much a very small world.
Yeah,
it's you know someone, you probably know they probably are at most 2 degrees away from basically everyone else in the field.
Yeah,
because the thing about parks is you'll have a huge ranging park with red deer and loads of work to do, and you have 3 or 4 people doing it. That'll be like a large team.
Yeah,
it's not something that you need a lot of people to run.
No.
Which is part of the joy of it. I mean, part of the reason why I love countryside management is I know what time I'm starting. I know what time I'm finishing work, because I'm not working with animals. I don't need to go overtime to be home to make sure they get fed or watered. But I never know what I'm doing, because I could be litter picking, I could be strimming verges, I could be felling trees. It really depends on the time of year, what needs to be done, what sort of ecosystem am I working with. Like, obviously, a park ranger for a woodland is going to be very different to a park ranger for a salt marsh. For starters, if you work on a salt marsh, you need a boat license.
Yeah,
it really is it's a very rewarding job. It's a very rewarding job, and it's a real passion of mine. I try to keep my hopes up to get a job there, or in the sort of place I'd really love. Like, if I could get a job working for the Knepp estate. Anyone who hasn't heard of that, look it up. KnEP. The Knepp farm is absolutely fantastic. Rewilding project that has done some great work reintroducing some rare UK natives.
Yeah, some extremely endangered ones as well.
Yes, like turtle doves and beavers. I mean, it's great stuff. It really is. I just want to I would love to. I mean, I just want to visit there. Honestly, working there would be the dream, but visiting there would be great. But there's places like this dotted around the UK, and it's in desperate need. We're in desperate need of people to do this sort of work, because the UK is one of the most natural space deprived countries on earth, because we have a massive population on a very small island, and and our country doesn't even take up the whole thing. England is not the whole of the island.
Yeah, bear in mind there's technically 3/4 countries that makes up the United Kingdom.
Well, there's
Northern Ireland,
3 that make up the island of Britain.
Yeah.
Technically 4 if you want to speak historically and count Cornwall as a separate one, which the Cornish will.
Yeah.
And then
we love you guys for the pasties, but you are not a different country.
You haven't been in a different part of the haven't been a different country since like the 11th century, so...
Yeah, shut up and chill out and just keep making pasties. But no, there's three main countries that make up the United Kingdom: Wales, Scotland and England. And bear in mind, like, you're trying to... but obviously if you then count Northern Ireland, that's technically 4. But
yeah, that's the UK.
Yeah, that's the UK. And the UK as a whole only covers, and I'm not joking, I actually have fact-checked this and double-checked this, the UK island, the island of the UK is only 96,000 square miles, which may seem like a lot, but bear in mind, our most northerly point is from our most southerly point is only 720 miles. Like, you can cover that entire span in 8 hours driving at 70 miles an hour non-stop. Like,
if you take the right route, you can easily go from the bottom of the country to the top of the country in a day, quite happily.
Well, I did it, didn't I? I drove all the way from, like, my ex-girlfriend's house in Portland, Dorset, all the way up to pretty much Inverness, and I've done that in 6.5 hours.
Exactly. And yes, and to the Americans that are going to be commenting on this, no, this does not mean we're a dinky little country. Yes, we're small, but there's plenty of smaller countries. It's just you're a freakishly large country.
Yeah, you're just a freakishly large country and continent.
Like, understand, there's plenty of countries where you can make a wrong turn and be in a different country without realising.
Yeah. Like, and okay, like, you may say you may say you could drive for 16 hours in, like, the state of Texas and still be in Texas. But yeah, Texas is like almost 10 times the size of us.
And it's bigger than most European nations. Like,
oh, exactly, yeah.
Like Texas is bigger than Italy.
I'm not even joking. 6 hours of driving, if you're in continental Europe, so like France, Germany, Poland, like 6 hours of driving non-stop, you will cover 4 countries.
Easily. I mean, especially if one of those countries is Liechtenstein. Because,
oh yeah.
I mean,
very small.
Exactly.
But yeah, so when we say that we're kind of cramped for space, it's like, bear in mind, we've got a population of about 85 million people, trying to fit on 96,000 square miles. We're trying to preserve as much farmland as we can, but our government is trying to get rid of that.
Because and this is why we end up having to import so much food.
Like, before, there was
a time during World War II when we were food independent. Well, we made all of the food we ate. We did actually
we was actually starting to get back to that during the COVID pandemic. Like, when they shut basically all the borders and we weren't importing anything that weren't necessities, right? We actually, because someone actually did the statistics, we were actually starting to produce about 5 to 10% more food than what we actually needed, right? So we were actually starting to become food independent again. But now the government's introducing all these new taxes and removing all the subsidies for the farmers.
Farms are getting dying off.
Yeah.
And what do you know? This is exactly what I said when we left the EU, because the EU provided a lot of subsidies for farmers, and those subsidies went away as soon as Brexit happened.
Yeah.
So, and the government, of course, was like, don't worry, we'll replace them with equivalent in subsidies. Did they? Did they fuck?
Well, they did initially, and then
started taking them away again.
Yeah, they started taking them away, and then they changed freaking leader again, because our government can't have a stable freaking prime minister for some goddamn reason. I think it's because they're all idiots. Yeah. And like, I don't like to get political and all that, but like they are, and because of that, like, our current prime minister decided, oh, we're going to bring in an inheritance tax for all these people who inherited a farm from their parents.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 94% of all people, of all the British population, didn't pay this inheritance tax. Now, because this inheritance tax isn't only going to affect farmers, it's actually going to affect anyone who's inherited any kind of estate from their parents or family. Now 94% of the British population will be paying those inheritance taxes, and what it's doing now is that the money that wasn't being paid through farmers through certain taxes will allow those farmers to have a little bit of a financial buffer to keep themselves afloat. So no matter what happened, they still were able to carry on. Now with these new taxes being put in, which is basically draining every single penny from them, they're not going to be able to keep running.
And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't even affect the wealthiest parts of society, because it affects people who got it through a will, which doesn't matter if the estate was left. No, if the estate was left via a trust fund, like most estates for the upper class are.
Yeah.
Once again, the government likes to tax the poor, not the rich.
The rich get richer,
which is absurd, because this is the Labour Party. It's supposed to be the one that's actually halfway decent. But that's what you get when you let a former Conservative MP take over.
Yeah. For those of you who are familiar with the British Prime Minister currently, and a lot of people don't know this, he was meant to have been the next Conservative financial Chancellor after George Osborne. And he then transitioned over to Labour thinking, I'll get the chance that I never got before. And he's been given the chance, and he is royally fucked it.
Making a pig's ear of it, completely.
And you may have heard of farmers rioting in London and protesting all that, and damn right, as they should. Because it is ludicrous. They shouldn't be taxing farmers. If they want to bring in more money to the country, the best way that they can do this is all people who works in the Houses of Parliament, all MPs and Prime Ministers, they take a pay cut down to minimum wage, which is around about £20,000, which isn't a lot of money in the large scheme of things. They take a pay cut on that. They try and live their lives on that money, because that's what the working class person like myself or like Bryn here, that's what we earn, or less, and that's barely, and it's not even enough for us to live on. It's not even enough for us to live on. Right? They need to live on that for about 5 to 10 years, and then they realise how freaking messed up the actual wage system is in this country. Then once they do that, when they then actually have a change of heart and all that, what they need to do then is tax every single person who is in this country who is a millionaire and above, and tax them with 125% taxes. The reason why they should do that is because then that money can go back into recirculating through our country, keeping our economy stable, bringing the NHS back to where it should be.
The fact of the matter is, trickle-down economics does work if you don't consider it trickling down from the upper classes.
Yeah.
Trickle-down economic works if you don't view society as a pyramid, but as a funnel.
Yeah.
You put the money in amongst the working class, and because they're working class, they spend it, and every time money gets spent, it's adding value to the economy.
Yeah.
Rich people are actively bad for the economy, because they take a bunch of money that's in circulation and take it out of circulation. It just sits there. To be rich means that most of your money is doing nothing.
Yeah, which is the thing, because a lot of I know. I've made a good rapport with a few quite wealthy people, and these people, all right, there's an old saying: to make money, you got to spend money. So if these people want to truly stay rich, they got to be spending their money, sending it through circulation, trading it on stocks, buying it in assets, and generating themselves static incomes to the point where they can put money back into the system on a constant basis and still be able to keep their net worth.
But the problem is,
they don't. They get the money and they go, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to be poor.
Exactly.
And then they just store it away in vaults or in safes.
And it's not even just that, because at the end of the day, what service is a stockholder providing beyond, I put an investment into your business? Yes, that's great for getting businesses going and keeping them going, but they're not actually adding value to that money because money is just a placeholder for labour, and they're not doing any labour.
No. Well, not in like the real world scheme of things.
Oh no, just they're not.
Well, you could say making phone calls and that and selling stocks is technically a type of labour service, but not like labour.
No, it's not. I would argue that labour is an effort that results in a product or service of value.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Like, for example, for those of you who are currently up to date with everything that's been going on with a certain Tesla owner, enthusiast, and Mr. Elon Musk, nothing against the guy, personally, but he is a wanker. Like, he absolutely is. But if you don't know this recently, he was the guy who bought Twitter from its former owners, and he turned it to X. He bought Twitter with Tesla stock, Well, if you know anything about Tesla stock, recently he's lost $500 million worth of Tesla stock. Half of his freaking net worth has gone because of the Tesla is crashing. Because what has people been doing? They've been buying Teslas because they think, oh, it's the way of the future, it's the way we'll go. And the cars are built poorly, breaking down all the time, spontaneously combusting, and they depreciate like pianos falling out of.
And it's just pissing everyone
windows.
off because it's decided to be yet another fucking lackey. So he's the big orange man himself. But that's enough about politics.
Yeah, that's enough about politics.
Because we will start arguments in the comments.
Yes, we will. But
B2188.
Okay, Britt, if you didn't get into countryside, what field of expertise do you think you'd go into?
I might have tried for art if I was going for something less practical than countryside. But that being said, obviously, I'm a little more realistic than to expect that I'd make a living off of that. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a really damn good artist. You need to get extraordinarily lucky to be able to actually make a living.
That's the thing, because in my last Q&A, if you guys tuned in and watched that, thank you. I was talking to Alex about it, and Alex is actually trying to become a professional artist through the YouTube community, you know. And I made it out. I was very polite about it, but I made it very blunt to her that in the art community, it's probably the most toxic community in the world.
It's not even that. It's just oversaturated.
Well, yeah, it's also oversaturated, but also as well, it's like it's such a crazy community because so many people. Like, what it is that anyone can make art. Anyone can. Like, if you put your mind to it, anyone can do it. But what it is with the thing, a lot of these big pieces of artwork, like, I don't know if you saw about 10 years ago or so, someone literally made 20 million from squirting some ketchup up a piece of blank canvas. Someone bought that painting for £5,000 and then they took it to one of their evaluators who they paid under the table to go give it a valuation of 20 million. They gave it a valuation of 20 million, and then they then sold it, and then they made themselves 20 million.
Exactly.
And it's because that's where it's kind of corrupting, like, because it meant that these people who are genuine small-time artists who are absolutely excellent at their craft aren't going to be given the time of day because they're not part of the system. They don't know the right people. Yeah. They don't have the right connections.
Then you will arrive at your destination.
Everybody, like and subscribe, but at the moment we're going to have to sign off.
Yep.
I'll be around for other videos. Hopefully I get to be during the live streams. I'll get to talk to